Ba, 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 ba. All right. Go ahead and throw first blood out there for Steve-O. My man. We'll be with you in just a minute. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. All right, we're live. Go ahead and hit the intro button anytime. And when we close the show today, I'm going to be pants away from walking out the fucking door. You know, it would actually be kind of cool. We do the whole thing where we've got the voiceover running over the thumbnail before the intro runs. I wish I could figure out a way. I wish I could figure out a way for the main body of the intro to run, and then the music to go down and start picking up the background chatter after the video when we gotten all the way to the burning thumbnail thing. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm let's see. I am fantastic. There was let's see what I do this week. I worked. And then I worked some more. And then wait for it. I did a little more work.
I worked, and then I was Mr. Mom. And then I worked, and then I was Mr. Mom.
So I see a Steve. Good morning, Megan. Good morning. Good morning to Danny from the Brushfire Mine. Go check them out. They
we're the Brushfire Mine. They're Polytech.
I need more coffee. I worked a lot this weekend. Did I mention that I worked a lot?
Of course,
this weekend?
Danny's always welcome on the Brushfire Mind, but
yeah. See, that's what happened there.
their show is called Polytech.
That's right. Their show is called Polytech.
Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
2100.
Yep.
Indeed.
What are you asking me for? I don't even know the name of our own damn channel. Like,
So check this. This is the new hotness, and we're gonna get to the show in just a minute, but this one just came off the sewing machine Friday evening, and the wife has started doing these invisible pockets. Like, they're fantastic. So
that is.
and my wife makes all these Hawaiian shirts that I wear, and I love the Hawaiian style shirts. They're comfortable, and they're probably the best style of shirt to wear for an avid concealed carry advocate. They just make the whole thing super easy. Access, coverage, it's perfect. But what's really cool is, no shit, random people, at least 4 or 5 times a week. I won't say every day, but damn near it. Some random person will just, hey man, that's a really great shirt. And I can say, yeah, thanks, my wife made it.
It has pockets.
And that always turns, really? And anytime I say, thanks, my wife made it, I immediately get somebody, they come up and I'm like, really? Because, she has the extra machine and the serger and the special double stitch. It's very, very high quality stuff. And it makes me happy.
Looks professional. Before we get into me more.
Damn, I was just going to ask you the question.
See, it's almost like we've been doing this.
Indeed.
We might be shit at it, but we've been doing it for years now. Before we get into me more proper, can we have me more light and watch the Trevor Noah thing that is just still breaking my brain?
I wish you'd have said something before, so I didn't have to go looking for it. But what are we?
You don't have to look for it. It's on my Twitter feed. So I tried to make this easy on you.
Indeed, Z. I bet it's this. No, it is not this notification.
No, it's definitely not. Speaking of notifications, for some reason, Twitter has decided to notify me with random transgender people that I don't follow at all. Right? But it notifies me that random transgender person, it's weird that what Twitter has decided to start randomly notifying me.
So, you know what he's going to say. I haven't heard this yet.
Oh, okay.
Saudi Arabia isn't playing ball with Joe Biden. And you know what? You can say what you want, but this would have never happened to Donald Trump. Never. No one was ever ignoring Donald Trump's calls. Yeah, because if you ignored Donald Trump's calls, you didn't know how he would respond. Maybe he'd send an angry tweet, or maybe he'd just ban your country from everything. You don't know. That's why I bet in these situations, Biden actually wishes that he could hire Trump to step in as president wildcard. Just keep everyone on their toes. Because if Trump was calling, you best believe the UAE, they'll be racing to pick up the phone. Oh, Mr. Trump, we're here, hello? Too late, Ahmed. You made me wait 2 rings. We're bombing the UAE and the UFC, just in case. There is no denying that Saudi Arabia is...
And the UFC, just in case.
Okay.
I'll give him that. That was damn funny. Okay. And this isn't the first time Trevor Noah's actually had a solid take. I mean, the guy is trash. He really is. But every now and then, he gets there just a little bit.
One time when I was young and I'd first gotten my driver's license, I backed into one of those guards that's outside of the gas station pumps. And it was one of the gas stations right around the corner from here, right? And I realized that why my dad would always constantly check his mirrors when he backed up. Because it was right there in one of my mirrors. Right?
It was at a funny angle. It's behind you. When you reverse, things come from behind you.
Yeah, exactly. And I say that to say, Trevor Noah just kind of backed into not only a good point, but a funny joke.
That may be the funniest joke that he ever made. And so it actually dovetails nicely into what we're going to talk about this morning.
I know that's
And another little piece of something that I want to spend some more time on. So, what Trevor's hinting at there, what he's starting to get at, is everything that's wrong right now is a result of American leadership being weak and feckless. Partially, a lot of this is intentional, right? A lot of the problems where we're seeing the record inflation, the highest gas prices in history, breakdowns of supply chains, you will own nothing and be happy garbage.
You will rent the pod, eat the bugs, and you will like it.
And I mean, I've had chocolate covered grasshoppers, but son, they are not an entree.
Well, I mean, if you eat like 400 of them.
I'm not interested in catching 400 grasshoppers to chocolate dip.
Well, for somebody like me, dude, I can't eat the bugs. Same reason I can't eat crab and shrimp. Or
take the jab.
It could. I don't know. The jab's gold plated and amazing. What's more awesome, the jab or the election from 2020? Both of those are fantastic things. They should come wrapped in gold.
And then, of course, there's Steve at the UN and their menu ideas. Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about Putin, who puts the UN in fun. So we're looking at a world where Biden has rather intentionally gone out of his way to hamstring American oil production as part of the whole Green New Deal psychopathy. Make no mistake, the objective is not to, via the Green New Deal ideology, the cult of eco-terrorism that is the Squad, the DNC generally, and the globalist world power. The objective is not to make travel a thing of the past, to make air travel a thing of the past. No, the objective is to make air travel a thing of the elite.
Yeah, a thing of
to
your
make
past.
It prohibitively expensive for you poor peasants to leave your designated plantation segment. That's the objective. It's not, we will all live in the pods and eat the bugs. It's, you will live in the pod and eat the bug.
Well,
right?
But you'll get your Netflix. It'll be okay.
Yeah, that won't last. Funny thing about streaming services, they require capital.
Yeah.
So you'll have something to replace Netflix. It will be a single state-run media show. It'll be GBC, the global broadcasting company.
Yeah.
That will be your only option. So the question is, has Putin gone crazy? Washington Times has a pretty good take on this. Well, they have the beginnings of a take on this, and this is part of a larger narrative that I want you guys to get smart on. And no, not a larger narrative, a larger fact pattern that I want you guys to get smart on. So they asked the question, has Putin gone crazy? And the answer from Washington Times is not according to world history. So liberals believe that a decision to make war is unthinkable, unfathomable, and thus irrational. Wars, they think, happen by accident, not intent, unless the person deciding to go to war is insane. Thus, the media is peddling a narrative that Russian President Vladimir Putin is crazy. So let me ask you this, for all the liberals out there that think and believe this way. Let's have a brief discussion, maybe, about the psychopathy of BLM, who waged war on the United States of America from within her borders to include the destruction of federal property, the murder of government agents, and, no shit, the annexation and military holding of physical territories all over the country. Right, the Chaz Chop was the most famous of the autonomous zones, but those things sprung up all over the country. There were autonomous zones. There were dozens, if not a couple hundred of these autonomous zones. At the time when we were all focused on Portland, and a few other hotspots of BLM violence, where admittedly the violence was worse than other places. That was going on in hundreds of cities across the country. They set your world on fire. They waged war. These same people, the Washington Times thinks that these liberals believe that a decision to make war is unthinkable, unfathomable, and thus irrational. These people wage wars. Now, you take a moment and you look back at the previous president, Donald Trump, and an interesting thing emerges from the fact pattern. Donald Trump is the only president in living memory under whom Russia has not annexed additional territory through direct military invasion since the fall of the Soviet Union.
That's weird. It's almost like, and I mean, okay, and people have asked the question, okay, but I'm going to ask it again somewhat rhetorically, but, if, what was it, they said Trump was basically Putin's cockholster, I think was the phrase.
I think those were the exact words that Colbert used.
That's right. Why didn't Putin just take over everything while Donald Trump was in office? Why now? Why when Joe Biden's in office? It's
because
weird.
Trump might have bombed the UFC.
I'm gonna stick with that line. And look, the other thing is they keep the first paragraph of the article says that liberals believe that a decision to make war is unthinkable, right? And that wars happen by accident. All right. The narrative on this, remember before it happened, like everybody was like, oh, Putin's war of choice. Putin's war of choice. Putin's war of choice. I mean, look, it's going to be really, really, really dark for a second here, but isn't all war a choice? Like, if you get invaded, you could just surrender.
You could.
Right? But, I mean, they might take your women and children as, like, serfs and sex slaves and kill all the men 16 and up. But you don't have to war. You don't have to do it.
Hanguk Pando, anybody?
I mean...
But you look at Ukraine and the situation in Ukraine. Before I go any deeper down this, I'm going to give you a brief history, but I want you to understand this. In this conflict between Russia and the Ukraine, and while President Biden is the President of the United States of America, there are zero good guys here. Every major head of state involved in this conflict deserves to die for crimes against their own people and humanity. So let's be very clear on that on the outset. But take a moment and look at what the Ukraine is, right?
A corrupt trash pile that is trying to become some kind of bizarre petro state that threatens the stability.
The Ukraine was subsumed by the USSR in 1922. After that, Russia, right, under Stalin, imposed the Holodomor on the Ukraine. Literally murder by starvation, right? It's like a Holocaust without showers. Or more importantly, food. They literally went out of their way to use economic policies and political policies to starve the Ukrainians to death in order to exterminate the kulaks that were in the Ukraine for the purposes of establishing a substantial industrialized farming and what's it called? The collectivist farming situation, right? And take a moment over to Mao. Let's think about collectivist farming. This is death, right? Right. The funny little Jewish guy with the brown mustache, he gets a lot of guff, but he's really only credited with killing between 6 and 10 million people. That's amateur hour compared to what Russia and China have done in their long histories of evil.
Oh yeah, the Great Leap Forward. I listened to a documentary the other day that said as many as 30 million people died during the Great... That was a 5-year period.
Right. So in 91, Ukraine goes independent. After, Soviet Union falls. A few years later, it's 91. Ukraine celebrates its independence. And then by 1994, Ukraine enters into the, what do they call it? The Budapest Agreement, where they surrendered their 5,000 nuclear weapons, which were stationed there by Russia as it stationed its nuclear arsenal around its various satellite states before the fall of the USSR. Ukraine surrenders its 5,000 nuclear weapons in the Budapest Agreement, wherein the United States, the UN, and Russia all agreed that there would be no external intervention in the affairs of the Ukraine following their voluntary disarmament. So thing number one there, from my cold, dead hands, never surrender your weapon. A rifle's like a funky beat. If you drop it, you've got to get down with it, Private. So, back to my notes real quick. So then, fast forward to 2014, and who's in office? Barry. Well, okay, so a little before that, a little before Barry gets in office, while W was there, no, Crimea was under Obama. That was 2014.
Yeah, Georgia was under Bush.
Georgia was under Bush. So Russia takes Georgia while Bush is in office, and there are no consequences. Russia takes Crimea while Obama is in office. There are no consequences.
Well, no, he called it. Remember, he called up Putin and was like, "Stay out of our elections," because Barry's so intimidating. Who, by the way, is probably if I had to guess, who the shadow behind the shadow is that's like actually running the government. It's Barack Obama.
I don't think so. I don't think. I think Obama was just a more appealing puppet than Biden. But now that we've got Biden in office, we had a good run with Trump, and there were no new wars, no Russians annexing various parts of Eastern Europe.
Economic growth over 4%. Man, except for that whole COOF thing that Trump had no control over.
Dollar menus were $1.
That one all by itself. That's right, man. $1 was $1. Wow. The Trump presidency, the last time $1 was $1. That's damn near bumper sticker material right there.
So
that's right, but mean tweets. I could go for a mean tweet. If I could have a mean tweet and gas be $1.89 a gallon, I'd go for that right now.
Oh yeah. If what it took for me to get gas down to $1 a gallon was Trump just to sit there and tweet the F word once an hour on the hour,
buddy, I'd repost it.
That's every time. I'd have a little alarm set. Oh, I gotta reach Trump.
But look, we're not rooting for Putin here, as it were. Okay.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Putin's not crazy. He's reading the writing on the wall. And there are a few important line items in the writing on the wall. America has chosen weakness. China is a strong threat. And Russia is ill-equipped economically and militarily to deal with the rising China. Add to that Putin has a reasonable concern about, this isn't to say that I endorse what he's doing, but from the perspective of Russia and Putin, he has a very reasonable concern that the Ukraine joining NATO or the EU means that he loses a measure of control over a region where he is already militarily and economically weak against a rising China.
Well, not only that, but he pumps oil across Ukraine, and Ukraine has perma tariffs on the oil that all it does is just flow over its land. They don't even have to do anything. So there's a lot going on there. And just picture for a moment, let's say Mexico decided to sign a treaty with Iran. You think we'd You think we might have a problem with that?
Not until we get the current administration out of office.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I mean,
Biden deployed U.S. border guards to go to Poland. He hates us.
Look, but that's still why I think it's Obama. It smacks of Barry O. But
I bet Biden doesn't stutter as much in Russian
wow.
or Chinese.
Look, but the point is, and going back to that whole war of choice, is Putin crazy? Look, he might be a lot of things, okay, and he might have even snapped a little bit.
Wait, hang on a second.
Hold on, no,
Steve,
hold on.
It was the Trump administration.
Yeah, we know. He might have even snapped a little bit, okay? He might be a narcissist who's just tired of being shit on. And narcissists are funny people, right? Their empathy doesn't extend beyond how anything affects them. And Putin does display a lot of narcissistic tendencies. And it's weird. Trump would talk about how, like, Putin, was smart and somebody to be taken seriously and would meet Putin force for force. And Putin didn't try any shit with Trump. Okay? But now we're dealing with, like, the condescension of, well, Putin's war of choice, and oh my God, why would he do this? Actually, I could think of 3 or 4 reasons, logical reasons. I'm going to say good reasons for lack of a better term, but I can think of 3 or 4 good reasons why Putin would actually want to control the Ukraine. Biden,
the UN, NATO, China, oil.
Well, oil, and then
That's
when you
Cinco de Five-O right there,
and NATO, and then when you look at just all of the obvious corruption that happens in Ukraine, and then the thing about where, like, maybe we have biolabs in Ukraine and maybe we don't. I don't know who to believe on that one, because I don't believe Russia and China, but I don't believe our own government either. So maybe we had biolabs there, maybe we don't. Both things seem equally possible to me, right? But the fact that there's even a possibility, let's say Iran had a bioweapon thing in Mexico where they're doing, research on weaponized anthrax, like right on our border. Again,
Moab.
Yes, that would be the way to solve the problem, but we would feel the need to use a Moab to solve the problem, is what I'm driving at. So, is Putin crazy? I don't know that he's crazy. Has he snapped? Maybe. Has he taken things up a notch? Definitely. But is he crazy? I don't know. I don't know that I'm prepared to go that far that somehow Putin has become mentally unhinged. And speaking of world history, using that as like precedent, I don't understand the logic of, we are not going to give Ukraine fighter jets, but we'll give Poland fighter jets, so Poland will give their fighter jets to the Ukraine. Like, it just sounds like...
I ain't gonna lie, I miss Donnie Two Scoop saying, you know what, we're gonna sell a bunch of weapons to Saudi Arabia, we're gonna make a shitload of money, it'd be awesome.
I mean...
Wait, what? No, yeah, totally.
Okay. All right, but look, what I'm getting at is, a lot of what we're doing now with Russia, we did with Japan in the late 30s and early 40s. And Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Okay? Like, oh, well, we're not shooting at Putin. See what I did there? That's twice in one show. That's right. We're not shooting at Putin, so we're not at war with Russia. No. But we're gonna talk trash about them on the world stage. We're going to impose all these economic sanctions. We're going to use the considerable force of the U.S. government to nudge other countries to sanction Russia. We're going to cut off everything from Pornhub to their banking right there in Russia, baby. All right, just flatten the Russian.
No Pornhub, no CNN, no Disney, no Facebook.
Go ahead, admit it. There's part of you that wants to move to
might
Russia
have to
now.
move to Russia.
Yep, there it is. There it is. Right.
Привет, товарищ. Как дела? Очень хорошо.
But we do all that. I mean, we're essentially conducting a proxy war on Russia. We're doing everything but sending in U.S. soldiers because, like, we're supplying, like, what are the javelins or the Stinger missiles? They cost something
Patriots.
like what? They're what?
I think they were trying to supply Patriot. Oh no, javelins. Yeah,
Javelins.
missiles.
Yeah, which cost something like $400,000 a piece, and we're sending thousands of them. Like, that is not an insignificant investment for a country we're not at war with. So, oh, see, Alex agrees with me.
Yeah, we're not at war with them. But before I wrap this up, I want to put a bow on it. I want to remind you that at the beginning of this show, I pointed out between the Biden administration being in power in the United States and the facts on the ground of what Russia is, who Russia and who Putin are, who the Ukraine is, and who Volodymyr Zelensky, is. I mean, he's a commie. There are no good guys in this equation. None.
It's hard not to be on the Ukrainian people's side. Like, apparently, like, if you're 16 and up,
Yeah, I'll give you
male
that.
or female, they're like, no, here's your Molotov cocktail, here's your AK, and that's it's pretty intense. There's your gender equality right there.
I'll give you that. If I suddenly saw people in fuzzy or blue hats walking up my street, well, they're not going to get very far, and I'll probably post the footage.
That's another thing. Where's all
The
the
title
footage?
will just be Mozambique.
But where's all the footage?
Oh, there's plenty of footage. There's plenty of footage.
Oh, we can't watch it on YouTube.
Not on
can we?
YouTube. No siree.
Is it spicy?
And speaking of footage and not being on YouTube, Alex, we need to chit chat because I think we promised these people a show at the end of March, and the Ides is mañana, so we might need to sort those numbers out in the not too distant. Now that said, I'm gonna have to go ahead and put a button on this because I've got to get out to. Shit, I think I'm going to Fayetteville this morning. So,
Putting a button on it. So we're not convinced Putin's crazy. I guess
No.
it's possible, but we're not convinced.
no.
Okay, all
I don't
right.
think he's crazy. I think he's making some very calculated tactical and strategic decisions based on the threat of China and the opportunity that is represented to him by a weak United States leadership, coupled with the extraordinarily powerful bargaining position that he's in as he controls 500 million barrels of U.S. oil demand daily, as well as 30% of European natural gas, heating gas, fuel supply. And that percent rises higher up to the 50 to 60% market share of heating natural gas, oil, etc. for places like France, Germany, and I forget the other one. But
The point is,
that bargaining position right there is the thing that kept him from being thrown out of the SWIFT program for the first several weeks of this invasion. As the weather gets a little warmer, that will be less of a concern. And you'll see some of these smaller countries that are more dependent on Russian energy for heating their homes will be able to take a little breathing room and say, okay, we've got 6 months to figure out how we're going to get around the Russian energy problem. Let's hurt Putin economically, do our part to pretend like we're doing something deeply moral in support of the Ukrainian people, as if they are a deeply moral people. Now,
look,
don't get me wrong, right? The Ukrainian people, right? Joe Biden is not America. Volodymyr Zelensky is not Ukraine. And Putin is not Russia. There's a lot of Russian soldiers being ordered to invade Ukraine who are just like, I
guess
I gotta do the thing, or they're just gonna throw me out or put me in jail, or
lock me
maybe
outside
I'll
in
slip
Siberia.
on a pea sandwich and die in the snow. And if you're a Ukrainian, I cracked the joke with somebody yesterday. I said if I were in that situation, my Korean is real good, and I think they missed the roof Koreans joke that I was trying to make, but that's okay. Sure enough, I'm gonna find a rooftop and defend the homestead, but that doesn't mean that I have to support the politics of either country. You can make the argument that Zelensky is less evil than Putin, but he's still a dirty commie. And don't ever forget that. I mean, he threw the power fist. We're done. That should be the end of our relationship right there.
Yeah, if you're a commie, yeah, that's it. No, you're a commie.
I got no quarter for Mark's ass tricks. Y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.